One up to Kola Cadmo, just loses his footing as he was bending down to pick it up. And understandable with all the rain we've had around. It's a little bit on the soft side out there in the outfield. They got through for the one, so 42 for one. John has emailed in. Come to your email in a moment, John. Maharaj brings both men, straight men, inside the circle and puts two back on the leg side for this next delivery to Madsen. Can't deal with it. So not a bad comeback so far from Maharaj. He's gone for 14 from 11 deliveries, so one left in the over. He brings up his man from the mid-wicket boundary and now sends back Kola Cadmo to long on. And he comes in, the South African. He's whipped round back at a square. Good stroke, really good placement from Wayne Madsen. And so two boundaries off the over, a 6 and a 4. And just a little bit of a tinge of disappointment from a Yorkshire perspective there. Maharaj has gone for 18 in his two now, 46 for one Derbyshire after 5.
Yeah, can't pronounce his name there. Maharaj has just tried to tuck Madsen up there, but he's just over pitched and he's bowled it on the full, hasn't he? He's just been able to sweep that backward a square for 4 runs. He'll be disappointed with that because the 4 balls in the middle he bowled really well. It's just at the start of the over, the end of the over, where he went for the 2 boundaries, 6 early on and then 4 to finish the over.
Repeat after me. Ma.
I'll give it a go. Ma.
Ha. Raj.
Raj. Thank you, Doige. It's difficult with my Barnsley dialect, you see.
Aye. Maharaj. Come where you from? Pavilion end. It's Dwan Olivier who's taking the ball now at the pavilion end, in fact, and he's just pushed deep into the leg side where Jack Leaning is into field. That was a single to Godleman, who's now on to 28, 47 for 1. So the scores from per over so far have gone 7, 8, 6, and then 13 and 12. So a little bit of getting in of eyes in the first 3 overs, if you like, and then a couple of double-figure overs. And they'll be looking doubtless to try and take full toll on anything loose that Dwan Olivier throws up. In he comes then, shirt flapping in the Headingley breeze. The sun has gone in and he's thrown one up here and he has been dispatched straight back over his head. Lovely shot from Wayne Madsen, who's into double figures with that boundary 4, and he moves on to 10. And Derbyshire have got the 50 up, 51 for 1 after 5.2.
And that's what I mean by Madsen is an experienced performer, he's a situational player, so anything that's just slightly off, he will pounce on, which he's just done there.
Here's Olivier again, wide of off stump, and this time pushed to Leaning at cover, no run. John, by the way, afternoon to you, he says, why have Yorkshire decided to field first? Is there predicted inclement weather at Headingley this afternoon? If not, playing on a used pitch, and Yorkshire's poor record at run chases would seem to be a strange decision not to bat first. 5 defeats on the trot to the nemesis, brackets poor considering Derbyshire never qualify. However, Kent had beaten Somerset 11 times on the trot until last night. Here's a shortish ball from Olivier, worked from outside off stump by Madsen in front of square on the leg side. Lithe fielding and they didn't get a single. Great batting by Tom Banton and Tom Abel, he says. Yeah, I didn't see the game, I've got to say, but I kept seeing the messages coming up.
Well, I'm just looking at this and I think Olivier's going to have to go slightly shorter and hard into the pitch, and looked at the splicer Madsen.
Here's Olivier, dispatched over his head again. He followed the batsman who stepped away to leg, so that was a good piece of bowling, but he's still conceded 4 runs straight back over his head. It wasn't what you'd call a fluent Madsen stroke, took a bit of time to get to the boundary, but the 2 Yorkshire chasers couldn't quite reel it back in. So 14 to Madsen already, 55 for 1.
Madsen's just on the move there, isn't he? Trying to make it difficult for the bowler. And it was, as you say, it wasn't one of his most beautiful shots, but he had enough power just to get it down the ground and get it over the boundary for 4 runs.
Open stands Madsen, and Olivier this looks a little bit quicker, but maybe because it's short of a length and flies through to the gloves of Tattersall. So he went for 9 off the over in the end. Again, another couple of boundaries. You wouldn't call it as loose an over as Dwan can sometimes bowl. Still gone for 9 runs.
Yeah, he's still gone for 9 runs, and it's quite an important phase of the play here. And I'm just looking at the experienced Tim Bresnan and just wondering, Doige, what your thoughts are on how Yorkshire might use Brezzy this afternoon from a bowling perspective. He's lots of experience. We know there's a number of spin bowlers in the team. I just wonder what the captain's thoughts might be.
I really wouldn't want to second guess that, because he's been around for a game or two and barely been used so far. So I'm not sure what the thinking is there. I don't know if it's a case of he's in the side just in case somebody else doesn't come off and he's a bit of backup, or if they're going to try and get a couple of overs out of him, or if they've got plans to use him for a full 4. I suppose also part of that depends on him when he gets the ball thrown to him. How will he perform? But he hasn't got it yet. The power play is done at 55 for 1. I reckon Yorkshire won't be too disappointed with that. But the way that Derbyshire started, the way that teams have played here, you're looking again at one of those scores in the 170 sort of mark, aren't you, at this stage? Could be a bit either side depending on how they bat or how Yorkshire bowl. It's Jordan Thompson charged with that responsibility now. Comes up with a slower ball first up to Godalman, who works it to leg. No run.
It's a great start from Thompson, isn't it? We know the young player come all the way through the Yorkshire ranks, through the academy, second team, and now playing first team. But to bowl, first ball to the informed Godalman, slower ball around the wickets, good bowling.
This time though, he's slanted down the leg side. He's got a little tickle on that as Godalman, and it's straight through to Tattersall, and Billy Godalman, I should say, has gone. Caught behind by Johnny Tattersall off the second ball of Jordan Thompson's spell. 55 for 1, and Godalman, big wicket for Yorkshire, 55 for 2 now. He's gone for 28.
That's a huge wicket, because we know how dangerous Godalman can be. Obviously earlier on this season he played a captain's inning, played fantastically well for Derbyshire to beat us down at Chesterfield. But Thompson will feel slightly lucky at that, because obviously straight down leg side, but great work by Johnny Tattersall, the wicket keeper, great footwork and a nice little dive down the leg side for him. We'll be happy with that.
Yeah, excellent bit of keeping from Johnny Tat. And the new batsman in then, with Godalman gone, is Leas Deploy. Rain is falling here at Headingley. The sun is out, but there's also rain blowing in from a sort of westerly, southwesterly direction from away to our right. So they're going to continue playing for the time being. And Deploy, the new man then, dangerous player Leas Deploy, saw him to good effect here in the 50 over comp earlier in the season. In answer to John's question, by the way, about why Yorkshire decided to field first, probably get a bit of a word on that from Tom Kohler-Cadmore afterwards. No inclement weather of any note here at Headingley this afternoon, as that first ball to Deploy is turned to Bresnan at a short straight mid-wicket, and there's no run. And no major rain predicted this afternoon, which is perhaps why they're continuing during that little shower. It looks to have stopped already. It looked as though it was just going to be mainly set for cloud cover, and then later on in the afternoon maybe a bit of sunshine breaking through. We've had that early. So here's Thompson again, fourth ball of his over. He's gone for just the 1 so far, and that will remain the case, as this next ball is a good one, wide of off stump and blocked. Well, dropped into the offside really by Deploy, who thought about a single for a moment, but that wasn't entertained by Madsen.
Two great deliveries, isn't it, to a new incoming batter. First two deliveries, roundabout, knee roll height, quite full, hard into the pitch, not allowing Deploy to freeze hands at all.
Thompson round the wicket, this time dropped into the leg side by Deploy, and it's going to come back for 2. A good piece of running between the wickets. They'd noticed that Yorkshire's fielder in that general direction, David Willey, was right back on the boundary edge, nobody else within QE, and he had to run further than the batsman did. So good work between the pair of them. Deploy gets off the mark with a 2. And it's 57 for 2, 1 ball left in the 7th. Here's Thompson in, and that's wide of off stump, and just dropped down to third man, where Jack Shutt does the fielding. So they get a single off it. Good first over from Jordan Thompson, 1 over No maidens, 1 for 3. Deploy is 3. Madsen 14. Derbyshire 58 for 2 off 7.
As overs go in T20 cricket from a seam bowler's perspective, Jordan Thompson, the young and fairly inexperienced Jordan Thompson, has just bowled an outstanding over in the context of the game. He's got the new batter in, Deploy there, and he's not giving him any room at all to free his arms. He's bowled hard into the pitch, he's bowled a really, really good length. It's an exceptional over.
So we're going to have a change of bowling at the pavilion end, and it's going to be Jack Shutt into the attack for the Vikings. Of course, 2 wickets in his first match a couple of weeks ago against the Lancashire Lightning here. In he comes, and this is wide of off stump, just short of a length. Great piece of fielding there at backward point by Tim Bresnan. The agile Tim Bresnan. They got through for a single, but that was boundary bound, so saved a 3 there. Good effort, Brezzy. 59 for 2. Deploy on to 4. The partnership is worth the same. Madsen not out 14 on strike. This is round about leg stump and pulled backward of square. Jordan Thompson round to field, and they'll get through for 1 more. So probably one of those, at this moment in time, positives for both sides. Derbyshire have not had a disastrous start, 60 for 2. Yorkshire neither.
It's probably even Steven, isn't it, when you look at it? Both teams would be relatively happy with where they're at this stage of the game.
Just a change in the field as the man who was back at a point, Jordan Thompson's brought round to cover on the boundary edge, but Shutt gets this one wrong right in the slot, and that has been smashed into the second tier of the east stand. That's a huge hit from Leas Deploy, and it is very, very easily a maximum, and probably just about the biggest hit of the day so far. He's into double figures on 10, 66 for 2 Derbyshire.
Yeah, it's very rare in the games, the 2 games that Shutt's played so far, that we've seen that type of delivery. He's just dropped that short, and actually the ball then did get what it deserved. That's a great contact from Deploy. He's hit that a long way back into the east stand.
So here's Shutt, and this time he goes the other way, off stump, wide of it, and he's cut out just in front of square on the offside. Single to Deploy, takes him on to 11, 67 for 2. Mark Taylor's emailed in. Good afternoon to you, Mark. Down in Thetford in Norfolk. Come to your point in a mo, because Shutt is skipping in again. This time he's scooped over Johnny Tattersal's head, and that will be 4. Inventive play from Wayne Madsen. Good stroke, legitimate stroke these days, of course, in the modern world of T20 cricket, and it brings him a boundary. He's on to 19, 71 for 2.
Yeah, premeditated shot there from Madsen, but it's a great shot. Nice scoop over Tattersall, the wicketkeeper, for 4 runs. He's able to do that because Shutt's just fired that ball in, and I think Madsen was just sensing he was going to look to fire one in, and he's timed that perfectly, got into a really good position. Great execution.
Here's Shutt again, round the wicket, and they're pulled through mid-wicket. Jordan Thompson's round to do the fielding, does well there, made good ground. He's not going to prevent the 2, but he does at least prevent the 4. End of Jack Shutt's first over. He's gone for 15 there. 73 for 2. Madsen 21, Deploy 11, and 8 overs have been bowled.
Yeah, the batting pair, the Falcons batting pair of Deploy and Madsen is a really nice fit. You've got Madsen that works the ball around and plays to his strengths, of course, and Deploy that's a very, very good ball striker. Hits the ball a long, long way, and of course right hand, left hand combination, so it makes it very difficult for the bowlers to hit the lines and lengths consistently.
And a shame from a Yorkshire point of view, because after that tremendous over from Jordan Thompson, who incidentally retains the ball at the Emerald stand end, he went for just 3 in his first over, 15 off the next. Kind of counters that good work that had been done.
Yeah, it does.
So here's Thompson in round the wicket from the Emerald stand end. It's a short of a length delivery, and Deploy, who was advancing down the wicket, has to hit it top of the bounce down to long on for a single. He's on to 12, 74 for 2. So the runs per over count, just to recap now, 7 in the first over, 8, then 6, okay, from a Yorkshire point of view, then 13 and 12, then 9 at the last over of the power play, before a 3 from Jordan Thompson, and then that 15, the biggest over the lot. So the smallest number of runs followed by the biggest number of runs in the match so far in consecutive overs. Here's Jordan Thompson again over the wicket, this time to Madsen, who drives to the edge of the circle where it's fielded and there's no run. Maharaj, the man getting down to do that. He's of course here for the next couple of red ball games, and in fact this time next week we'll be sitting at hopefully sunny Scarborough for the visit of Nottinghamshire in Championship cricket, as Jordan Thompson's in again. That's wide of off stump, good delivery, Yorker length, beats Deploy, tried to get something on it down to third man. So 8 balls bowled so far by Jordan Thompson. He's taken 1 wicket and gone for just the 5.
Yeah, he's made a great start to this game, hasn't he? He's becoming quite quickly a very important T20 player for Yorkshire.
And he comes again. This time he goes full once more, and with use of feet, Deploy, Madsen I should say, takes that on the half volley. Flat bats it out into the covers, picks up a single.
What I like about Jordan Thompson, he just always looks clear on what his plans are. You can see from his field placings that he's working with through, obviously, Cola Cadmore. He's pretty consistent with that. He's consistent with his execution of his skills. I'm talking there, the ball that's hard into length, the ball that's full, but also his variations. He's very consistent. He's a good young performer.
Here he is again, switching to round the wicket. Slower ball this time, and that's driven back to him, and he's annoyed with himself because he got both hands on it, but it ends up going through and up to long off, and he concedes a single. That was to Deploy, who's now a dozen, about 13 a Baker's dozen. Madsen on 22, Derbyshire 76 for 2, and 1 left in the 9th. Jordan Thompson, don't want to speak too soon, he's got 1 ball left in the over, but it's been pretty good so far. But there you go, he's got that one wrong. Tried the Yorker, it was a low full toss, and Wayne Madsen has just helped it on its way straight into the east stand boundary, a flat 6. So double the run count of Jordan Thompson's end of his second over. Went from 6 off 11 balls to 12 off 12. 82 for 2 after 9.
Yeah, and it's just that last ball of the over again, isn't it, that Yorkshire do have this challenge with. I mean, he's overpitched that. Jordan Thompson's gone for the Yorker, which I think is the right option at this stage. It's good decision making, it's just his execution, and of course the experienced performer Madsen has pounced on that and put the ball into the east stand.
Mark says Yorkshire need to get Godalman out quickly. Of course they have done. I haven't checked his stats, but I remember his name being mentioned a lot each time we play them. He says, yeah, it's one of those, some players have clubs, don't they, teams who they seem to do well against regularly, irrespective of who's playing in that opposing side. First ball of this Olivier over, meanwhile, is driven through the covers. Thompson's round to field, so Deploy picks up another single, 83 for 2.
I was talking to Richard Dams just a few days ago about Thompson, and he said he can strike the ball, he can rotate the strike, he's an exceptional bowler in situations, and he said he's a real athlete in the field, and we saw him cover quite a lot of ground to stop Derbyshire from getting 2 runs there. He was quick to the ball, very athletic, very speedy, and accurate throw into the stumps.
Here's Olivier again to Madsen, who tries to just nip this one either over the top of Tadasal or down towards third man, but misses. Charles Kitching has tweeted us, afternoon to you, out there in Spain. He says, shame about the Diamonds, it just seems to matter who they select. It just seemed to matter who they select. Seems to be the same old result every year. I'm not entirely sure what Charles is on about there. But here's Olivier, and the batsman Madsen has got right underneath this one, and a chance down at third man. The ball must have been swirling around in the wind, and Jack Shutt got himself right underneath it. But in the end, well, hard to tell whether he got a hand to it before it hit the ground or not, or whether it actually dropped short of him. But he had loads of time to get underneath that, didn't he? And that's got to go down as a missed opportunity from a Yorkshire point of view.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the ball's gone really high and it must have been swirling around. But that's an opportunity missed, really, you know, to get the dangerous Madsen out.
Here's Olivier again, and this time Madsen off the hip, works it in front of square, and they pick up another single. Jordan Thompson doing the fielding, 85 for 2.
Yeah, just looking at the game situation, and we're almost at the midway stage, and Derbyshire have got 85. They'll be looking to push 180, and if these two bat for long periods of time, 190. Yorkshire obviously will want him to get below 170, so it's going to be a really interesting tussle from here on in.
Here's Olivier to the left-handed deploy, who smashes this one to Lythe inside the circle at mid-off. Had to get the hurry up on there, did the batsman, because Lythe had the ball in his hand and had a shy at the stumps, but missed vitally. And so the umpire wasn't called upon to make an adjudication. Deploy 15, Madsen 30, 86 for 2, one left before we are at the halfway stage of the knock. So here's Olivier again, and this one flicked backward a square leg side. Thompson getting through plenty of work today with the ball and in the field. He's round and keeps them to a single. So that is halfway in this Derbyshire Falcons innings. Yorkshire, of course, won the toss, asked them to bat first, and they have responded by going 87 for 2 at the halfway stage. The wickets to have fallen. Lewis Rees caught Tom Kohler-Cadmore at mid-on off David Willey for 11, and Billy Godalman, danger man, of course, having got 70 down at Queen's Park in the Derbyshire win, the first game of this competition. Well, he was caught down the leg side off the bowling of Jordan Thompson by Johnny Tassel.
Yeah, Yorkshire will be really keen here to break this partnership. It's forming nicely from a Falcons perspective. They'll be happy with where they're at. They've got a very good foundation at this stage in the game. Yorkshire, as I say, will be really keen to break this partnership.
Maharaj back into the attack in place of Jordan Thompson. His first ball's been smashed through mid-wicket there, 4-4 by Wayne Madsen. Good use of feet, but really wasn't the best of deliveries, was it? It was an open invitation ready from Kesh Maharaj.
Yeah, it was actually. It was slightly short, and as we know, Madsen's just pounced on that and swept that to the square leg boundary for 4 runs.
Here he is again, the South African. This time he tried the feet to delivery that must have been round about leg stump. It was one of those that, had he missed it completely, probably have been seeing the arms outstretched by Ian Gould and signal of a wide. But gets away with it, Maharaj, who's in again. And this one pulled backward a square this time. Bess is round to field, right on the boundary edge in front of the northeast stand, and keeps them to 1. 93 for 2, as I mentioned earlier on. Good crowd in at Headingley this afternoon. Wasn't sure how many there would be, given that neither side's having the best time of it this season. Here's Maharaj again, this time to the left-handed deploy, who uses his feet and works this one backward a square leg side, where Olivier fields, and as is the way of things in this competition, the ball is bounced in from the outfield. Got some spectators making their way back towards their seats from the bar. It's certainly not cold out there, despite the fact that the sun's not currently shining. Got a mild, slightly muggy afternoon. 94 for 2. Maharaj in, and Madsen has a swing similar to the boundary he played earlier in the piece, but this was a little bit fuller, round about leg stump, and he got something on it for a single, so he's 38, 95 for 2.
Yeah, it's again a really interesting stage of the game, isn't it? As I say, Yorkshire do need a wicket at this stage, but tactically, I'm just wondering what the strategy is to break this partnership at this stage.
Maharaj in now again, and deploy pushes up to long on. Left-handed deploy, Jordan Thompson fields. It's the end of Maharaj's over. He's bowled 3 for 26 so far, 96 for 2 after 11.
I mean, we do know, Doige, that minimising boundaries, minimising twos, and especially boundaries is really important in T20 cricket. And we hear a lot about economy rates, so on and so forth. But actually, strike rates are pretty important, aren't they? And taking wickets is still a very good way of minimising the strike rate and getting back into the game.
Well, yeah, there's no better way. There probably isn't a better way, but sometimes, of course, that can work in reverse if somebody's not going that well and you get them and bring somebody else in who hits the straps straight away. Just went in the field. It's going to be Olivier continuing from this pavilion end. 2 overs for 15 so far for him, 96 for 2. And he's got this one wrong. First up is a full toss, and it's been taken full toll of by Leas Deploy, who smashed that straight back over the bowler's head. And it's a no ball as well into the bargain, and it's gone for 4. In fact, he signalled 4. 6 has been put up on the board. I think it went for 6 as well. It has been changed. So that's a no ball for 6, first ball of the over, which is a disappointing start from Duan Olivier. And it also means that Derbyshire have brought up the 100, 102, 104 for 2. 1 ball into the 11th, or not 1 ball into the 11th, is it? Because of course he'll have to bowl that again.
Deploy just stood there and struck that ball as if he was playing a different sport, baseball perhaps. He struck that ball very, very powerfully down the ground for a well-struck 6 runs.
Free hit then. Here's Olivier, and this one's going to be smashed miles and miles over the northeast stand. That's gone a long, long way, somewhere down Cardigan Road, and I think the greengrocer up the street, well, let's hope he had a helmet on there, or maybe a little bit of a melon on top of the old nut, because that's gone a long way. Some people at the back of the stand are going to be in danger with that 6 from Leas Deploy. Takes him on to 29 now, 110 for 2. And, well, there seems to be an over, doesn't there, in every innings that goes for a lot, and this is shaping up to be that one from a Yorkshire point of view already.
Yeah, it's the over that obviously Yorkshire don't want to ball, but it's the over that the Falcons do want Yorkshire to ball. And we talked before the game about slightly shortened boundary there on the leg side, but it's hit that ball out the park, hasn't it? I mean, whatever boundary that ball was travelling.
Right out the back over the top of the stand. Here's Olivier, this time gets it a little bit better, around about off stump. It was short of length, and Deploy has worked it down to third man. That's a brilliant stop down there on the boundary edge. I think it's Tim Bresnan who's got round to do the fielding. That's a superb effort from him. They've got 3 for it, so already the over's gone for 17, and we are only 2 legitimate deliveries into it. So this is danger time from a Yorkshire point of view. I was saying sort of 170-ish, that sort of score. 180 was on. It's very much on now, with still 8 overs and 4 balls to go. 1-1-3 for 2. Olivier in, over the wicket, short, pulled by Madsen, out to mid-wicket, where David Willey fields, and they just pick up an easy single this time. A lot of work to do for Olivier in these last 3 balls here. Wouldn't want to go for another boundary, perish the thought, or 2. A wicket would be a nice response from him on behalf of his team, but he's been smashed again, and this is going to be 1-2 bounces over the top of mid-on by Deploy, who really is taking full toll on the South African speedster. And another 4. Worrying times for Yorkshire. Deploy on to 36 already, 118 for 2. Olivier 37 now off 2 overs and 4 balls. And this over alone has gone for 22. There's still 2 balls to come. Here he is again, short, pulled. That's going skyward, and is it going to go all the way? It is. It's another 6 backward off square leg. Dear me, that was another poor delivery halfway down the track, and although he didn't catch it right, Deploy, he was somewhere up near the splice with the pace of Duan Olivier. Sort of limped over the boundary, but it's gone for a maximum down in between in the gap between the east stand and the main stand. And so 124 for 2. Deploy on to 42. 43 off 2 overs and 5 balls here by Duan Olivier. And a bit of debate about the ball between the 2 umpires. A debate as well at the end of Olivier's run between he, fellow countryman Maharaj, and skipper Tom Kohler-Cadmore. Maharaj is disappearing out to the long on boundary. Which means Cleaning's coming in square inside the circle. 124 for 2. Last ball of the 12th. And this time he's used his feet again and he's lofted this one over the top of the circle and got it away wide of mid-off, I should say, for 4 more. So a huge over from a Derbyshire perspective and a very, very disappointing one from a Yorkshire point of view. 128 for 2 after 12 overs. 32 off that over by Duan Olivier.
I mean, how a game can change in T20 cricket in just one over. 32 off that over. Obviously starting with that no ball and then the free hit, which gave momentum to the Falcons. But I have to say, the way Deploy's played that over, he's pounced on anything, hasn't he? He's played 2 or 3 great cricket shots. He had a little bit of luck with the one that hit him on the splice that carried for 6, but actually he's played that over fantastically well.
Yeah, tremendous effort from Lias Deploy, who's faced just 19 balls for 46 so far. Maharaj going to continue then at the Emerald Stand end. A lot of work now for Yorkshire to do to bring this one back around. Still 8 overs to go, and forget that 170. We're now looking at 200 plus here and more, because first ball from Maharaj is a full toss, and that has been lofted way above square leg by Wayne Madsen for 6 more. Yorkshire at the moment in tatters in mid-innings as far as the bowling's concerned, and Derbyshire absolutely flying. 134 for 2 and 45 now for Madsen.
Maharaj has just over-pitched that ball. It's a full toss and Madsen has just pounced on that.
Here's Maharaj again, one-handed this time. Madsen out into the deep in the cover region. David Willeyfields, they get through for 1 more. So he's on to 46. Madsen has faced 28 deliveries for that. So circumspect really at a strike rate of just over 150.
Yeah, Yorkshire need to pull this back as quickly as possible. We know breaking this partnership is crucial. If they don't do that and just pull this game in a little bit, they could be chasing 200 plus here.
If there's a team who can chase 200 plus, it is Yorkshire. Of course, the top 2 scores in the history of T20 cricket, and they might have to do that because Maharaj's next delivery sees Deploy use his feet and he's smashed that straight back over the bowler's head, and that brings up a brilliant 50 for Lias Deploy. He's faced just 20 deliveries and he's been out there just 24 minutes. That is unbelievable striking from the South African, and he's a team 139 for 2. Well, disappointingly from a Derbyshire perspective, a dot ball. He hits that straight to the man at short extra cover. Retiring for that. So 50 off 20 for Deploy. And here's Maharaj into him again, uses his feet nicely and just drops it into the leg side and strolls through for 1 more. 140 for 2.
I mean, so far Deploy's innings is probably as good as I've seen in the context of a game like this. He's come in at 3, he's rotated the strike, and then he's just smashed the ball. But he's played good cricket shots with a good strong base, good free flow of the hands, and lovely striking. He's played tremendously well.
Maharaj again in full. Madsen pulls the left leg out of the way and pulls the ball up to long on for a single. So Maharaj has finished, and he's finished with 4 overs, no maidens, none for 39, and his team, well, they're up against it here. Derbyshire 13 gone, are 141 for 2, 13 off the over.
Yeah, Derbyshire are certainly in pole position at this stage of the game. It's important, as we said before, that Yorkshire do pull this game back by taking a couple of wickets. But again, I think it's worth chatting about the way this partnership has developed for the Falcons. Madsen knocking their ball around and pouncing on the bad ball, that's certainly the way he's playing. And Deploy, clean striking, good cricket shots. And the other thing we should mention is they are also rotating the strike, Dodgy, aren't they? So they're striking the ball, but they're rotating the strike, so the scoreboard's continuously ticking.
Yeah, it's very effective stuff from the 2 men out there in the middle. And Yorkshire desperately need to see the back of both these players, I would venture to suggest at the moment, because even if one of them goes, the other one's left behind. He's well set. There's still 7 overs to go. David Willey back into the attack in place of Olivier. He's gone short first up. He's been lofted over the top of Johnny Tattersall down towards fine leg. And it's going to be a single to Madsen, who's closing in on a 50 of his own, 48. 142 for 2.
Yeah, Willie's just slightly unlucky there, isn't he? Because he's won that little battle against Madsen, but what he needed for that ball was to carry down towards the boundary to Bresnan, who's sprightly moving around in the deep for an experienced performer.
So Willie switches to over the wicket to the left-handed deploy. 51 not out, steps across, and he's gone here, surely gone. LBW, he's hit him on the full. He stepped right across his stumps. Good piece of bowling from David Willey, and the real danger man from a Yorkshire point of view, Leas Deploy, has gone for a brilliant 51. 28 minutes, just 23 balls, and it included 3 fours and 4 sixes, and a very impressive strike rate of 221.74. But tremendous job from Leas Deploy.
That's, as I said before, a fantastic innings. The way he's played the ball, the way he's got himself in, and then accelerated. What a fantastic performance by Deploy. But I have to say, that's intelligent bowling from Yorkshire's own David Willey here today. He's seen Deploy move across his stumps, and he's gone full, and he's gone straight, and he's hit him on the pad. That's really well bowled at this stage. But I have to say, what a fantastic innings for the Falcons by Deploy. Brilliant innings.
So 142, and Deploy has gone 142 for 3. So Willie with 2 for 21 now from 2.2, and that's what you want from your England international T20 player, isn't it? Sees the batsman, well set batsman, albeit at that, making a move on him, and manages to trump it himself. It's a really good delivery. Must have been a roundabout leg, Midland leg, on the full, and there was no option for Ben Debenham but to raise the finger. Willie in round the wicket, first up to new batsman Matt Critchley, who works it into the leg side by Lythe Fields, but they pick up a single. John Logan has mailed in, by the way, BBC West Yorkshire Sport at gmail.com is the address. He says Yorkshire's bowling is totally unacceptable at the moment in T20, with the exception of Jordan Thompson, who's got the skill set to bowl in this format. I've said before in matches the Yorkshire players need to watch other teams on how to bowl in T20. He thinks Dwan Oliphant is a complete liability. He needs to watch Jerome Taylor of Somerset or Jofra Archer of Sussex in how to use the pitch bowling at pace, as Willie is in short, and that's how to use your bat when the bowler's bowling it short at you, because he's just helped that on its way. A little loft over the top of Johnny Tattersall's super cricket shot from Wayne Madsen in this form of the game, and that is 4 more to him. 50 up for Wayne Madsen, and Derbyshire are absolutely coasting along at the moment at 147 for 3.
Yeah, that's really well played from Madsen. A fantastic innings. We said he was a very dangerous player. He's played exceptionally well. What a shot that is. He's just adjusted his footwork, played the short ball, and just paddled it over Johnny Tattersall for 4.
31 balls, 45 minutes for that 50. And short ball again from Willie, this time to Madsen, who's lofted it into no man's land really in a short fine leg area. Gets a single. He's not going to be bothered about having a bit of luck on his side. He's played some good shots and he's earned a little bit of luck as well, you'd have to say. Wayne Madsen, 53 to him, 148 for 3. 1 ball to come in the 14th. And the Yorkshire crowd, well, there's that typical sort of hum, but there's not a lot of joy out there at the moment. That's because the team have suffered a little bit of a battering in recent overs. Here's Willie in round the wicket to Critchley, turns it back with a square leg side. Thompson into field, they pick up 1 more. 2 to Critchley, 149 for 3 at the end of the 14th, and well, damage limitation in that over, and a wicket as well. Just 8 runs off it, which is welcome news from a Yorkshire point of view.
Yeah, in the context of the game and the last few overs for sure, where Derbyshire's been going very strong and very quickly in terms of accelerating that run rate. Willie's bowled, in the context of the game, an exceptional over really, hasn't he? Shown his international calibre, his experience, and bowled a good over in the context of this game.
Malcolm thinks that Yorkshire's efforts to play T20 are a joke. We don't really have a clue how to take the pace off the ball and bowl defensively. Hope we can bat tremendously well, he says, but he won't hold his breath. Well, we live in hope. A lot of work to do. Yorkshire must win this game to keep tabs on the others who want places in the top 4. That's wide of off stump, first up from Jordan Thompson, who's continuing in over number 3 here from the Emerald stand end. Critchley used his feet but missed, crucially, so Johnson's now bowled 13 deliveries for the concession of just the 12 runs, one of which was a 6, of course, final ball off his previous over. He's taken a wicket as well, so is going well. He's been the leading light with the ball from a Yorkshire point of view, but he's disappeared for a boundary here, just not managing to pitch this one really. Full toss on about leg stump. Don Bess made a dive, but it's been turned into the northeast stand by Critchley for 4. Takes him on to 6, 153 for 3.
Yeah, Thompson's just overstretched there, hasn't he, a little bit, gone a little bit too full, and Critchley's clipped that away for 4 runs.
Thompson in, wide of off stump. Critchley misses again. Good bowling, good response from Jordan Thompson. The 150 came up in 14 overs and 2 balls. If you remember, the 100 came up bang on 11 overs with that 6 off Duan Olivier, so they put 50 on in just 3 overs and 2 balls.
Absolutely incredible striking, wasn't it? Incredible.
Here's Thompson, wide of off stump. Critchley slashes this one away down to third man. Olivier is the man doing the fielding, and they come back for a second. Johnny Tattersall takes the ball, throws the wickets down at the far end, and good piece of backing up in the end from Tom Kohler-Cadmore, I think it was. Stops them taking what would have been a 3rd run. They were having a think about it.
Because Derbyshire have got themselves in a very good position here, Critchley's come in, he's just looking to strike the ball as hard and as far as he possibly can. I think young Thompson here, if he bowls a slower ball, I think he could be in the game actually. I'd be thinking about a slower ball here.
See what he comes up with. He's used it well in this spell so far. Here he is again, not a slower ball, it's a low full toss, worked through mid-wicket by Critchley for 1. Leaning doing the fielding. So Critchley on to 9. Madsen back on strike is 53. 156 for 3. And 5 overs and 1 delivery remaining. So Jordan Thompson at the moment going at just over 1 a ball. 1 for 19. In he comes now to Madsen, who sits right back in his crease. But that's a good piece of batting from Madsen. He stepped right back, and Jordan Thompson, probably a bit harsh to say he fed him, but he certainly didn't have a reaction to that step back from the batsman, did he? And he's whipped him away backward of square for a 6 to finish the over. 1 for 25 off 3 overs now for Jordan Thompson. 162 for 3 Derbyshire with 5 overs to go.
Yeah, and that's Madsen showing his experience, and he's gone back, he's gone deep into his crease. And Jordan Thompson's over-pitched that one, and he's just gone down on one knee and clipped that one away backward of square for 6 runs. But we've said, you know, he's a dangerous player, and he's anchored the innings really well, hasn't he? He's got a good strike rate, he's manoeuvred the ball around, he's struck the ball nicely, and he's playing a great innings for his county.
Don Bess back into the attack for Yorkshire for the first time, I think, since the first over of the match, but his first delivery is wide of Critchley's off stump and has been signalled a wide by Ben Debenham. Try and keep you up to date with what's going on elsewhere. Worcester North Ants still haven't got going because of the rain, as Bess's next delivery is worked into the leg side for a single by Critchley. He's on to 10, 164 for 3. Don't forget, of course, Durham Notts already washed out. Birmingham made 179 for 6 off their 20 against Lancs, who have yet to respond, and Gloucester 168 for 8 off their 20 against Middlesex in the South Group. They've yet to respond. Here's Bess in to Madsen, who tried to work this as a reverse sweep, and in the end a little bit of contact on the pad gets him a leg bye. Glamorgan taking on Surrey. Glamorgan 152 for 6, Surrey 5 for 1 after 1 over of their response. Full length delivery on leg stump this time from Bess, worked by Critchley up to mid wicket where Willie fields, and they get through for 1 more, so 166 for 3. Much of the hard work done by Derbyshire, but they've still got wickets in the 10th. They're in a very strong position here with the bat. Dominic Bess Round about leg stump, not a bad delivery from the off spinner. It's been whipped away into the leg side. They're thinking about a second. There's a mix up here. Run out surely. Oh, Don Best knocked the stumps over at the bowler's end as he was waiting for the ball to come in. And this is where in cricket it is so important that an accurate throw comes in. He just had to readjust his movements because of the angle at which the ball was coming, and I think it might have been just clipped by his ankle or something like that. The bails came off, so he realised that, looked back at the wickets, then couldn't reel the ball in. Then there was still a thought between the two batsmen as to whether they should go for a run or not, and almost a run out of the far end. In the end, neither. 167 for 3. Long way to get there, wasn't it? That explanation, but that's sort of how it happened. Critchley steps outside his leg stump, and so Don Bess throws it up there around about middle, and he's smashed away off the back foot through extra cover for 4.
Yeah, I mean, he's middle and off, just got his line, freed up his arms and struck that ball nicely through the covers for 4 runs. But Best needs to be really tight here, really tight lines.
Here's Bess again. Critchley knocks this one up to Lyth at long on, and they pick up a single, so it's the end of the 16th, and 10 runs off that over make it 172 for 3.
Looking at the scoreboard and the way the Falcons are playing, they'll be disappointed not to score 210 from this position. Obviously Yorkshire will want them below 170. Now they're thinking let's keep them below 190 if that's possible, and Derbyshire will certainly target in 210. There's no doubt about that from here.
So it is Tim Bresnan into the attack for Yorkshire. They've waited to make him the 7th bowler in the attack here this afternoon, and until over number 17, but he gets a go, and he'll have been chomping at the bit out there, seeing the ball disappearing, and I'm sure in his own mind will be confident that he can give his team some assistance here. So Don Best 2 overs for 16, 172 for 3. If you've just joined us, Yorkshire won the toss and decided to field first, and we've seen a brilliant knock from Leas Deploy, 51 from 23 deliveries. Bresnan in for his first ball is pushed out into deep into the offside for a single by Critchley. 17 to him, 173 for 3.
Yeah, I can't help feeling that Bresnan will obviously he'll feel he's got a point to prove. All his experience, his run round, he's been athletic in the field, and he'll want to pull this back for Yorkshire. There's no two ways about that.
Bresnan in again, and that's a beautiful shot from Wayne Madsen, who's pulled his left leg out of the way, giving himself a little bit of room, and smashed Bresnan straight back over his head into the black sight screen at the foot of the Emerald stand. Maximum.
Yeah, it's a great shot, isn't it? He's just cleared his left foot out the way, gave himself a very strong base, hit the ball under his eyes powerfully down the ground for 6 runs. That's an absolutely beautiful contact.
179 for 3. Bresnan in again. This time it's a good delivery from Bresnan. He's got him. LBW. Great response from TT Bresnan, who punches the air with a big jump at the same time, because having been smashed back over his head, that's the experience of an England international. This time the batsman steps away again, he follows him, but on the full vitally, trapped him in front, and Madsen gone. LBW Bresnan for 66. Real good knock for his team, 56 minutes, 37 deliveries, 6 fours and 4 sixes, and his strike rate increased as he went on to 178.38. Super stuff from Madsen, and a good wicket for Brezzy.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's again a fantastic innings from the experienced Madsen. He played fantastically well, hit the ball around the ground, stroked it well around the ground, rotated the strike. When the ball was in his slot, he powerfully put it away. But that's great bowling by Brezzy, isn't it? He's just gone for 6, been pumped down the ground for 6 by Madsen, then come back full and straight, hit him bang in front of all 3.
179 then, 4-4. Critchley 17. Alex Hughes, the new man at the crease, is on strike to Bresnan, who goes short and wide of off stump first up, but it's too wide for the umpire's liking. Ian Gould signals a wide, and Brezzy running back to his mark. I hadn't noticed where we are on the clock, but I think the cut-off time was 4:15, and presumably Yorkshire trying to get through these overs pretty quickly now, because they might miss that. Bresnan in, it's full. Hughes might have got a bit of bat on that. Let's just see if the umpire signals leg by. He doesn't. So he's off the mark. 181 for 4. Yeah, cut-off time 4:17, which gives Yorkshire 8 minutes to bowl these last 3 overs and 2 balls here. And with a couple of boundaries thrown in, I'm sure that's going to be difficult to do. Here's Bresnan again, wide of off stump, lofted into the offside by Critchley. Underneath it, David Willey. Great catch from David Willey at an awkward sort of an angle as it was coming down, and he slid on his knees. But Bresnan has picked up a second wicket in this, his first over. 2 for 9 now for him. Matt Critchley caught Willie bowled Bresnan for 17, including 2 falls in a 13-ball knock.
Yep, cometh the hour, cometh the man. Brezzy, the international experience, the amount of games he's played, slightly slower ball. Critchley's just skewed with that one up into the air, and really well caught by Willie, who runs in from the cover boundary. This over in the game is such an important over, not just because of the wickets, but because it brings the Falcons' score rate or run rate down quite quickly. We said before that economy is important, but actually striking by getting wickets brings that economy down, and Brezzy, the experienced Brezzy, has certainly done that here.
Alex Hughes on strike. Finn Hudson-Prentice, the new man at the crease, has gone to the non-striking end, but he will have strike now because that's a single to Hughes. 182 for 5. In fact, he won't have strike because it's the last ball of the over. 182 for 5 after 17, and a super start from Tim Bresnan. 1 over, 2 for 10.
We did wonder in how Yorkshire would use Tim Bresnan today, didn't we? We spoke about it on air just a few minutes ago. So I'm delighted for Brezzy. He's as committed and gives his all wherever he is in the park, wherever he's fielding. He's give his all, and he's come in at a really important part, took 2 wickets in that over and got Yorkshire back in the game, and they needed that over. They needed those wickets, didn't they? Yeah, that was an over of a man with a point to prove, I would suggest. 3 overs to go. They've got 7 minutes to get these bowled before the cut-off, and the first delivery from Dom Bess is worked into the leg side by Alex Hughes, who picks up a single. So 183 for 5. So the last half dozen overs went for 32, 13, 8, 13, 10 and 10. A real onslaught from Derbyshire in this second half, and still 2 overs and 5 balls to go. This one is lofted up towards Adam Lyth at long on by Finn Hudson-Prentice, who gets himself off the mark. 184 for 5. Just looking at the clouds, bit of cloud cover now.
Bess in, attempted a reverse sweep here, this time from Hughes, and an appeal for LBW because he missed it. They've got through for a leg by. Brezzy couldn't get in to prevent that from just inside the circle. So 185 for 5. Dominic Bess round the wicket from this pavilion end. Floats this one up. It's been lofted over the top of extra cover. That's a lovely shot. Great use of the feet as well by number 33, Finn Hudson-Prentice. And the first boundary for him. He's on to 5 then.
That's a great shot from Hudson-Prentice. What he's done there, he's opened up his body. He's got inside the line. He's gone inside out over extra cover.
Bess in again, flicked this time into the leg side by Hudson-Prentice. They've got the one, they're thinking about a second, and they're going to take on Adam Lyth, who, had he hit, would probably have run out Alex Hughes at the non-striking end, but just missing by probably a stump width. So 191 for 5, they took 2. Good delivery from Bess this time, full round about leg stump, and just pushed up for a single to Lyth at long on. That is the end of Bess's third over. He's gone for 25 from 3 so far, and with Hughes on 3 and Hudson-Prentice on 8, Derbyshire 192 for 5 with 12 balls remaining in their innings.
Just looking at the clouds, I mean, there's no real sign of rain just yet, but the clouds are gathering across to my right over the western terrace. The atmospheric pressure is just changing a little bit. What that'll mean for Yorkshire's run chase, I'm not quite sure at this stage, but there's certainly a change in the weather.
Yeah, atmospheric pressure. Sounds like I think I'm sitting next to Paul Hudson, not Paul Shaw. Mind you, he's a Bradford City fan, not a Barnsley fan.
The Superheads struggled a little yesterday, didn't they?
Unlike the mighty Whites. Here's Bresnan for the first ball of the penultimate over. Then it's a good length delivery and worked through mid-wicket where Leaning fields. And Hudson Prentice picks himself up another single. He's on to 9 then. And the score moves on to 193 for 2. The last 3 overs have all gone for 10. Including Brezzy's 2-wicket over. Last but one. Here he is again. Emerald stand end. Wide of off stump and stepping across is Hughes. Works that backward a square. Long way across to scoop that round to Dominic Bess. And they got through for 194 for 5.
Can Brezzy do it again? Can Brezzy just nick another one out here for us and keep this score around about the 200 mark?
And he comes again. This is wide of off stump, and that's a lovely piece of placement this time by Hudson Prentice out into the extra cover region. Kesh Maharaj makes a long chase round to flick it back in, and good support out there from David Willey has kept them to 2. That's an excellent bit of teamwork in the field from Yorkshire, because that had 3, if not 4, written all over it at the point of the batsman striking it. So Hudson Prentice into double figures. He's 11, 196 for 5 as Bresnan bounds in again from the Emerald stand end. It's full and wide, and good delivery from Bresnan because the batsman can't get it past him. Straight back to the bowler. Cut-off time says 4:18. On the clock it says 4:15. They're going to just about do it.
Going to be tight, isn't it? That's great bowling by Brezzy there. He's just bowled a wide Yorker, almost impossible to strike.
Here he is again, Bresnan, and that is wide of off stump, and hit to Kola Cadmore, who's coming in from extra cover. Got a single.
Again.
They've got to get into that last over before the cut-off time. Just to clarify that, it doesn't have to be a completion of the 20 overs.
Yeah.
So they're just about going to do it with 1 ball left in this Bresnan over. 2 for 15 he's got so far. Make that 2 for 16 because this has been chopped out backward a point. They're going to take it on for 2 run here, and they're going to get back for those couple. So 2 overs, 2 for 17 for Tim Bresnan. It's been a good spell so far for him. In fact, it's been a good spell from him because it's not going to continue because there ain't any overs left at the far end. So 199 for 5 at the moment. They won't be happy with this, Yorkshire, having got themselves into a pretty good position early in the piece from a fielding point of view. It's been a little bit of a damage limitation exercise in just the last couple of overs. Could have been worse, couldn't it, the way things were going? But those 2 wickets of Madsen and Critchley have just pegged them back a little bit.
Yeah, it could have been much worse, and Yorkshire's certainly got Bresnan to thank in terms of, 1, damage limitation, but getting them back into the game with the 2 important wickets of Madsen and Critchley.
So 199 for 5. David Willey is going to finish at the pavilion end. And he comes in, running away from our commentary position. Round the wicket to Hudson Prentice, who doesn't get a good contact on this. Drops it into the bowler's follow through. And he turns and has a shy at the stumps but misses. Just watching a bit of old Ashes footage this morning on television. 82-3 Ashes. And there was a brilliant piece of fielding by Bob Willis. The lads on the footage were joking that it was a once-in-a-career achievement for him to run across, pick the ball up, turn and throw the stumps down. And John Dyson, the Australian Open batsman, was out by yards, and the umpire said not out. It was an absolute shocker. Here's David Willey round the wicket. Good delivery. Just over the top of off stump. And Hughes, not too sure what he was trying to do with that really, but he missed it. So 200 up for Derbyshire. Of course, off the previous delivery. And they've got 4 balls left to try and just edge this game a little bit further away from Yorkshire and attempt to make it 6 wins in succession against the Vikings in this form of the game. Short ball, but pulled off the splice really by Hughes. Maharaj fields mid-on. Hughes checks the splice. He's got a single for it. That might have been one of those that you just felt the vibrations of in the hand. Yeah, not so good. 201 for 5.
It's a great start to this last over, isn't it? Willie's gone full, and then he's gone 2 short balls and minimised any striking the Derbyshire batters can do.
Here he comes again. He's gone short this time once again, and then once more it's a top of the back contact from Finn Hudson-Prentice. He got a little bit more on it than Hughes did the previous delivery and managed to get it away for 2 through mid-wicket. So 203 for 5. A word of wisdom or two from Bresley, who's walking in from mid-off, to David Willey, who turns that at the end of his run. Round the wicket. Skipping running style. Batsman steps away to leg. He followed him well. Good delivery again from David Willey. He'll take singles all the time at this stage of the game, and Yorkshire happy to concede that with a blow into the ground that was fielded at extra cover by Tom Kohler-Cadmore. So 204 for 5. At one stage my colleague Mr. Shaw was saying they're on for 210 plus here, so, and I don't think he was wrong when he said it. So Yorkshire have pulled it back slightly here. Here's Willey, last ball, hit into the air over the top of Maharaj at mid-on. It's going to be a boundary, I think, off the last ball. No, brilliant effort from Maharaj to pull it back in, and they will pick up 3 off the final ball of the innings. So 207 for 5 is Derbyshire's concluding score. Alex Hughes not out on 10, and 15 for his partner out there, Finn Hudson-Prentice. And the bowling figures: Dominic Best 3 overs, none for 25. David Willey 4 overs, 2 for 35. Super effort from him. Kesh Maharaj 4 overs for 39. And of course they've now taken that graphic off the scoreboard, which was very helpful indeed. Not, but we can fill you in with the rest of the details. Because Dwan Olivier bowled 3 overs for 47. Jordan Thompson, really good spell again, 1 for 25 from his 3. Jack Shutt 1 over for 15, and Tim Bresnan, very valuable, 2 for 17 from his 2 overs. And so 207 for 5, the result for the Derbyshire Falcons. It's there to chase for Yorkshire. We know they can score 200. Can they do it today?
Well, I mean, that's the big question, isn't it? In front of an expecting, if you like, crowd here at the Emerald Stadium, Headingley. Just reflecting on Derbyshire's innings, the partnership from Deploy and Madsen, I think, was absolutely fantastic. Real important performance there or real important partnership, should I say. But then I reflect on Yorkshire's bowling, which at times, we have to be honest, it hasn't been great. They haven't always hit the areas that they would have liked to hit. But I think special mention for Bresnan, as he came back into the game and bowled a couple of exceptional overs. Willey bowled fantastically well, and that last over of the game was an important over to keep Yorkshire in the game and minimise the score and keep it below 210. And young Thompson, I thought, bowled really well also today. So yeah, looking ahead, looking at the second innings, can Yorkshire chase this down? Yes, we know that they can. As you rightly said, Doiju, we know they've done this before, but it's going to be a real challenge, isn't it? And the way they start, with the power they have, the positive striking of the ball in the first 6 overs is going to be crucial. But they have to take this game as deep as they possibly can, and from 1 to 11 they have to believe they can win this game. And there's no doubt about that. The batters have got to come out with a positive mind. It's still, we know that Deploy and Madsen's showed Yorkshire the way in terms of how to rotate the strike, how to strike the ball cleanly. They played proper cricket shots. Yorkshire's got to follow, I think, that blueprint that Derbyshire set today.
Thanks, Paul. Okay, so 208 Yorkshire need to win and give themselves, well, still some sort of slim hopes of getting through to the quarter-finals of this competition. We'll see how they set about doing that in a few minutes' time.